Hi everyone, I've been meaning to do an FAQ video, just answering some of the questions that we get asked pretty regularly as we've been sharing about embryo adoption. But before I do that, I just wanted to give a quick update. I spoke with Nightlight this morning and we did our matching interview, which was very quick. It took all of 10 minutes just to confirm what we were comfortable with in embryos and genetic family. So I asked her about how long she thinks it will take to get matched based on our criteria, and she said not long at all. So they're hoping that within a week they will be able to show our profile to a genetic family that they think that we would be a good match for. And then that genetic family will have a week to decide if they would like to move forward with us. And then from there, contracts and things really start rolling. So it could be as soon as 2 weeks that we get matched with a family, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully we'll have more coming up in the next week or so that our profile's been shown and all of that. So anyway, that's good news. And yeah, so I'll just dive into the FAQs now. The first question that people usually ask me is, what does the medical side of things look like this time around? So real quick summation of IVF. When you go through IVF, a lot of the medication that you're on is to stimulate your body to produce eggs so that you can fertilize them and make embryos. Since with embryo adoption we're dealing with existing embryos, my body does not need that full amount of medication that's necessary for a fresh IVF cycle. So this is just an FET, a frozen embryo transfer, so the embryos already exist and it's just a matter of preparing my body for pregnancy. So they just give me a couple things to take that kind of gives my body a little bit extra to sustain a pregnancy. And those two things would be estrogen patches, which are just like little clear squares that I put on my stomach. And then also progesterone suppositories. Suppositories are always a good time. Yeah, they're not that fun, but they're way better than injections, so I'm not going to complain about them. So I'll be on those for a few weeks, and then after, Lord willing, if I get pregnant, I'll be on those for a few weeks as well. So yeah, pretty simple. I'm really happy. The medical part of it is super minimal. It's a fairly easy process once we get matched. So the second question, I have a list here, bear with me. The second question is if this is going to be like an open adoption, like if we have to know the genetic family and all of that. The answer is yes. And we're very excited about that opportunity, actually. When we went through our home study, we were educated on open adoption and the importance of adopted children to know their genetic history and to know where they came from. And we really want our kids to be able to have like a familiar face and not just grow up with this daunting feeling of there's this mysterious person out there somewhere that they're connected to and they may or may not meet them someday. It's just the added mystery and secrecy. It just causes unnecessary complication in a child's mind, and we want to be able to help them through that as much as we can. So yes, this is considered an adoption, and we want to be able to have a connection with the genetic family that we're matched with. One unique aspect of being matched with a genetic family as opposed to a birth mom or birth family is that they've been there. They've been through IVF and they've gone through infertility, and that's how they've been able to get the family that they do have now is because they went through IVF. So they know what a struggle it is, and I think that will really be a good means of bonding the two families together. So we're excited about that. Yeah. Another question that I get is what made us decide to make the switch now? Like, why are we pursuing this? And we had thought about embryo adoption, or, we knew about it when we made the switch from treatment to adoption. But I really just needed a break from treatment, as I mentioned in my last video. But, after, it's been a year and a half almost since we stopped treatment, and there's really not a whole lot going on in the domestic infant realm of our agency. So there were, at the time that we made that switch, I think there were 9 or 10 families just like us that were waiting for a birth mom to get matched with, and at the time there weren't any birth moms in sight. And of course that changes moment to moment, day to day, but to have so many waiting families versus the embryo adoption arena, where you have a ton of genetic families that are waiting to be matched with someone to donate their embryos to, there just seemed to be a valid need that we could fill. And since there wasn't much going on anyway, we felt that it was okay to move forward with something a little bit different. That said, another question that we get is, why didn't we do something else? Which is a question I didn't expect, but it's totally valid. Why did we choose this instead of switching to international adoption or adoption through the foster care system? So we still consider embryo adoption as in the same vein as domestic infant adoption, because it's happening locally in the U.S., and we'll be bringing home a baby from the hospital. So it's more like, we see it as like a specialized form of domestic adoption, infant adoption. So we still see this as kind of accomplishing the same purpose. And when we left treatment and decided to move forward with adoption, we looked at all of the different forms of adoption that we could go into, whether that be international foster care or domestic infant adoption and embryo adoption. And at the time, domestic infant adoption just seemed to be the best fit for our family. And we still believe that. So we just see this as a specialized form of accomplishing that goal, that, in a way that we can serve and be a part of in a more unique or specialized form. So on top of that, it's also like, just logistically, there's a lot more that goes into switching to a whole new form of adoption, like international adoption, for example. I mean, that's a whole new set of paperwork, and not just U.S. paperwork or state paperwork. It's another country, the other country that we'd hope to be adopting out of. They have their own sets of regulations, and it's a lot bigger than it seems if you don't know about it. And the foster care system, same thing. It's starting fresh, which just doesn't seem to make sense. So that's why we didn't go with another form of adoption. As far as IVF, because I've been asked that as well, and Dr. Q asked me that too, like, are you sure you don't want to just do a fresh IVF cycle? We could do a retrieval for you and just get her done. And we just don't have that desire anymore. I mean, that's the basic answer. With switching to adoption, we've really grieved the loss of a biological child. Not that we wouldn't be ecstatic if the Lord just surprised us with one day. But, for this time in our lives, at least for this first baby, we feel like we've moved on from that idea. And because I've grieved that already, I don't have the need or the, this real strong desire to have a child that looks like me. I just don't see that as a necessity anymore. And so because of that, and because of all of the effort that's required to go through IVF, emotionally, financially, mentally, physically. It's just so all-encompassing. Everything that you need to do, I just can't justify doing it. Why go through all of that effort and putting myself through all of that again when I don't need a child that looks like me, and there are so many other embryos out there that just need a shot at life in someone's womb. And if I can provide that, I can't justify in my mind creating more embryos just so that they look like me. Obviously, that's just our perspective right now, and we might change our mind later down the road if we pursue more children, siblings down the road. We might do IVF again. We're not shutting that door, but for right now, we've moved past that, and I don't personally feel justified in creating more embryos when there are 500,000 frozen embryos in the United States already. So yeah, I think that's it. Those are all of the questions that I had been asked over the last few months as we've been sharing more about it. Those are the ones that have come up a few times. So I just wanted to answer those questions for you guys, and I hope that cleared up some things. If you have other questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll make sure to try to clarify that for you if I haven't already done so in another video. But I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll update you guys soon. Bye.